Hello, I'm Larry Meisel, and welcome to Confidence on Camera, which is an auxiliary channel for my main channel, The Examined Life. This channel is for the purpose of allowing me a place to practice my presentation and talking to the camera, so I get used to what it's like to just try to make friends with the camera and imagine the audience that's behind the camera. So if you've been here before, or if you just happen to stumble upon the channel because the YouTube algorithms thinks this is something you would want to see, welcome. My main channel is called The Examined Life, and it is a place for people interested in the civil discussion of ideas and issues, from the tremendously important to the trivial but interesting. After I get monetized on that channel, I'm going to donate 90% of the proceeds to Doctors Without Borders, Feeding America, the World Poverty and Hunger Relief Association called Oxfam, and Amnesty International. So if you will like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel, and also go over to do the same for The Examined Life, you'll be helping me to do good. You'll be helping me to do good for others. So in this video today, I'm going to read and comment on the #1 story in the New York Times. So I'm going to use my MS Surface Pro Go to read from the New York Times and comment as I go along. Let's see how it goes, because I've not always been the best at reading out loud, so this will be a challenge in more ways than one. So let's see. Okie doke. So the #1 story is U.S. provided Canada with intelligence on killing of a Sikh leader. U.S. intelligence gave assistance, U.S. intelligence gave assistance, but communication intercepts by Canada were more definitive in linking India to the killing of Hardeep Singh Najjar. Now let's dig deeper and find out who Singh Najjar is. American spy agencies provided information to Ottawa after the killing of a Sikh separatist leader in the Vancouver area. But Canada developed the most definitive intelligence that led to accuse India of orchestrating the plot, according to Western Allied officials. In the aftermath of the killing, U.S. intelligence agencies offered their Canadian counterparts context that helped Canada to conclude that India had been involved. Yet, what appears to be the smoking gun, intercepted communications of India diplomats in Canada indicating involvement in the plot, was gathered by Canadian officials. Subtext of this is that the United States doesn't want to be tied directly to assisting Canada, because the U.S. is now trying to create a closer relationship with the government of India in international diplomatic relation chess game of getting closer to India, because India won't criticize Russia, and India is buying things from Russia and Canada and China and Canada and all the interdependent variables in international relations. So my suspicion here is that the New York Times is kind of slanting the coverage to give some cover for the United States to not upset or alienate the government of India. So while Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has called on India to cooperate with the Canadian investigation, American officials have largely tried to avoid triggering a diplomatic blowback from India. But the disclosure of the involvement of the U.S. intelligence risks ensnaring Washington in the diplomatic battle between Canada and India at a time when it, the United States, is keen to develop a New Delhi as a closer partner. So that's the tie-in. And the United States didn't learn about the plot or the evidence pointing to India's involvement until after operatives had killed Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Najjar. And as two men fatally shot Mr. Najjar, who is a Canadian citizen who had advocated independence for the Sikh majority region of India while he was in Vancouver on January 18th. So first, let's take a look, let's kind of do a little background check to find out what is the Sikh religion. Sikh, and according to Google, Sikhism advocates equality, social justice, service to humanity, and tolerance for other religions. The essential message of Sikhism is spiritual devotion and reverence of God at all times, while practicing the ideals of honesty, compassion, humility, and generosity in everyday life. If we go down, however, I found that the Sikhs is an ancient Indian religion, as well as Hinduism. But the Sikh majority region of India has been fighting for independence from India for decades. And let me see if I can find so I can't find it here. Maybe I'll find it later on in the New York Times article. So everybody's trying to find plausible deniability, and the United States is trying to have plausible deniability for helping the Canadians, and the Indians are trying to develop plausible deniability that they orchestrated the plot to kill this guy, and the Canadians are upset that a Canadian citizen was killed on Canadian soil. And when I was reading through this article earlier, I found a link to another article where I'm not going to be able to find it. So anyway, in doing some background looking into this, I found that the Sikhs, in seeking independence from India, the government of Indira Gandhi was involved in the killing of one of the separatists, and then the Sikhs were involved in the assassination of Indira Gandhi. So, despite all the ideals of the Sikh religion, they do have a lot of violence and terrorism in their background. I was thinking of it as it's also kind of like there's this Sikh guy who is living in Canada, advocating for independence for the majority Sikh region in India. And, from the Indian point of view, this guy is kind of like the equivalent of the Proud Boys in America. And it's kind of like if, what's his name, the crazy aide to Donald Trump, the guy with the farmer jacket, and who's been in London, and he's from outside the country. He's egging on these separatist movements in America. And so if this separatist is advocating violence and terrorism back in India, from the Indian point of view, he's a seditionist. He's a traitor. He's an international terrorist. So you can see where they have reason to want to stop this guy in his separatist movement. The question, however, becomes, but can we tolerate countries going to other countries to assassinate and kill people who are opposing their government? The Russians have done this, assassinated the opposition leaders. There was the Saudi Arabian journalist who was close to the royal family in Saudi Arabia, but started writing critical articles, and he had to flee to America, was working for the Washington Post, and he was trying to remarry, had to get divorce papers, so he had to go to the Saudi embassy in Turkey, where some henchmen of the Saudi government murdered the guy, dismembered his body, and flew back to Saudi Arabia. So governments have interest in trying to prevent people from overthrowing their government. But do they have the right to kind of basically like be like the mafia and Murder Incorporated and the Wild Wild West, where if you don't like what people are doing, you can follow them around the world, not to arrest them and have like Interpol bring them to courts in The Hague and to be tried for international terrorism, but you can just go and assassinate them. Is that the direction that we're supposed to allow the world to be taking? It seems to be increasingly common. There's a line in this article where it mentions that autocratic countries do this on kind of a regular basis. And stable democratic countries do it very rarely. Well, that's rather troubling. Stable democratic governments assassinate the opposition, but rarely. We don't do it all the time. We just do it every once in a while in extreme cases where it seems to be absolutely necessary, where it seems to fit our interest. So let me know in the comments below what you think about my presentation. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this issue. This is day 2 of a 30-day challenge to record a video talking to them, getting used to, becoming comfortable talking to the camera. Once a day for 30 days, I'm going to post a video. That's a challenge for myself. I hope you'll tune in and watch and give me your feedback. As a reward to myself, if I complete at least 90% of the 30 days, I'm going to buy myself a new piece of equipment for the YouTube channel. If I don't succeed and I record less than 27 out of the next 30 days, the punishment is going to be that I have to mail a $25 check to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. If anybody out there watching knows me, you know that this would be an excruciatingly terrible punishment. And even though I'll carry through with the punishment, but I figured out the way in which I'll do it is I'll put $25 in cash in a plain envelope and mail it to the campaign, but it won't have any address on the envelope, no return address on the envelope, and I'll probably wear gloves in order to seal the envelope because I don't want those people coming after me, and I don't want anybody knowing that I did it. Well, of course, now I've put it on YouTube that I did it, so, well, that got shot to heck. But, okay, so that's enough for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I'm getting better at my presentations. But once a day for 30 days, I'll either be better or I won't. We'll find out. Thanks for watching.